Good evening, my dear. I hope you are well. Thank you so much for your patience in regards to your feedback, and thanks for getting this up to date for me. Hope you've had a great day, and I hope you had a fantastic weekend, albeit a very drunken one. I did enjoy your waking up to your messages on Sunday. They did give me a bit of a giggle. But yeah, I hope that the hangover has been and gone. You didn't suffer too much yesterday. So a better week in terms of steps. Fantastic. Definitely could have went to the gym for another session, but you didn't. Nice 4 days off with the girls. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sure it was great to spend a bit of time with them. Apologies, I'm getting distracted by the cat. I've just bought a fucking basket out of Tesco's, and of course she sat in it. Um, really enjoyed it. Although yes, done a few shifts with job number two. Cannot say no. That's something we can work on. But yeah, I know you need the dollar for Disneyland. Weekend was a shit show, as you know. Did drink a shitload of water, which helped yesterday. Brilliant. So staying hydrated. Obviously, alcohol does dehydrate you. So the best thing you can do then the following day is just get the water in. Did have a KFC, not the be all and end all protein chicken. No, the weekend was awful in terms of food and alcohol. Was looking at a full length pic of me from Saturday, and I really hate it. So instead of picking shit points and running myself down, decided you're going to use this for inspiration. Yeah, I think that's something that I used to do as well. I know when I wasn't happy with what I seen in the mirror, I would have shied away from pictures. And I think then it was upon seeing one, and it's one that I refer back to. Was in a bar with a friend, and I was like, "Holy fuck! Right, enough's enough. You have to do something about it." And when you're not happy with what you see, I think, you know, for me, when motivation was lacking, or maybe I felt myself slipping back into old habits, I would have referred back to that old picture, and that would have driven me just to keep going. So that is potentially something that you could do as well. So girls are back to school this week. So time for routine and structure. I know, and I've spoke to a lot of parents of younger kids during check-ins and stuff that just cannot wait to get back. The summer's been great. It's been great having the kids off and spending time with them, but they cannot wait to get that routine and structure back. I think that's something we all miss as well. Um, I think over time it can become a little bit monotonous, doing the same thing. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it really does help to have routine and structure. Um, So, kids back at school, routine and structure, really want to knuckle down and get some fat off. If you're willing to, I'd like to drop the calories and really go for it. I was thinking I've got the holiday, so if I could aim for 4 to 7 pounds off by the 30th of September, I'd be super happy. So, this is now coming up to the end of August. So, many weeks now until the 30th of September. So, we've got 1, 2, 3, four and a bit weeks. So realistically, you're talking, you could easily get a minimum of a pound off per week if you do stick religiously to your calories. And we would definitely have to get some assigned cardio in there as well. So if that's something that you're up for, then absolutely, it's more than doable, more than doable. Um, it's 47 pounds by the end of September. The only problem is you need to weigh yourself. You're scared to do so because you don't like what you see in the photos. So ultimately, what the scales say now is completely irrelevant. Um, but yeah, we do need to know. We need to know it as a bit of a starting point, really, just to see where you're sitting at. And you know what? Half the time, it's not as bad as what you might expect. I would maybe leave it a couple of days. Obviously, you've had that food or drink at the weekend. You're probably retaining a little. You probably were dehydrated, and then the water in, rehydrating, so you could potentially be holding a little bit of water too. So I'd maybe give it a couple of days till midweek, just get back on track with calories, and then weigh midweek, or just fucking go for it. Jump in at the deep end, face your fear, jump on the scales in the morning, and see where things are currently sitting at. Um, but yeah, I think you've got to this point now. You've got that driving force in behind you. You've got an end goal. If we were to, you know, pursue fat loss and go at it aggressively. You've got those 4 weeks, right? I really need to knuckle down these next 4 weeks. And then, I've got that end point. And then you've got that holiday to look forward to and enjoy as well. You'll have that weight off. You can relax a little bit while you're away. And if you put a couple of pounds on holiday, it's no big shake, Whereas I think if you were to go away on holiday now, you'd be constantly thinking about that in the back of your mind, terrified of eating X, Y, and Z because, I'm going to come back. What if I come back a couple of pounds heavier and stuff? But remember as well, when you're away, you're going to be really active. You're going to be walking about and stuff all the time as well. So I think now it would be a great time just to really knuckle down and use that as an incentive as well. Um, time to make a shift and put some proper graft in now and get back to business on my part. Hope all is going okay with you guys. Sounds like you're having some stuff going on too. Hope you're okay and hanging in there. Yeah, I had a bit of a fucking shit week. It just seemed to get progressively worse from Monday, and you know what it's like, just fucking life stressors, but everything seemed to happen at once. Like I said, it never rains, but it pours. And then come the back end of last week, I managed to give myself food poisoning, which I think I'm over the worst now. I'm assuming it's food poisoning. I did speak to the doctor this morning, and they said that that's what it sounds like, but um, just wasn't ideal timing at all. But there's a tip: don't eat chicken that has been in your fridge for 5 days, even if it smells and tastes okay. I think that was the culprit. So let's have a look at things. If you can jump on the scales in the morning for me, please, or if you would rather leave it a couple of days until any potential water retention does drop off. But nutrition at the minute. Excuse me a wee second just while I go and grab my charger because I'm scared this is going to die whilst I'm doing your check-in. Right, we're back in business. We'll have a wee look at your week last week anyway before we get stuck into making adjustments here. So food wise, great, bar the weekend. Recovery ain't too bad, bar the weekend. Energy levels have been pretty decent, and then obviously took a little bit of a hit yesterday, along with mood and everything else. Stress relatively low. So we did get a gym session in last week, absolutely fantastic. Motivation to be through the roof now, love. A very hilly 2-hour hike, but fantastic. Dancing does count. Physical exercise doesn't have to be in the gym per se. It can be things like dancing, going out dancing. You're moving about. You're increasing your expenditure. Through that, dancing's fucking fantastic. So more of that. Steps looking great last week. Appetite is pretty decent. So calorie wise, obviously didn't track over the weekend, but sitting in and around 1800 on average. Protein's great, bar the weekend. It took a little bit of a hit. Bowel movements regular and consistent caffeine consumption. Okay, so let's have a little look at targets. So these, I would stick to this for now over this next coming week. I would get a weigh-in tomorrow morning if I were you, and then maybe just forget about the scales for the next week at least, and just stick to these calories and be bloody meticulous. Obviously, prioritize your main meals first and foremost. Make sure you're one step ahead with your nutrition in terms of planning. And if that means if it's easier for you just to eat the same foods every single day going forward over the next week, that's grand. And then you can maybe start looking at including a little bit more variety, but it might just make things a little bit easier for you this week. You just stick to kind of the same foods and stuff. Obviously continue to get your water and whatnot in, and make sure that you are hitting your non-negotiables when it does come to nutrition. But it's won and lost here in you know, when it comes down to your food, big time. So yeah, I would do that. Stick to your calories religiously. Get your cardio done. So cardio, obviously, you want to be getting a really good sweat on. Now be it should be difficult. Definitely. Out of puff. If you're able to track your heart rate, great. If not, you just want to be out of puff and getting a good sweat on. What you use in terms of equipment is entirely up to you. But the stepper's fantastic because obviously you can modify that and adjust that over time. But I would just keep the level on it really low, um, and just keep it at a level that you can sustain for those 20 minutes. You know, you're going to be out of puff on that, and just try and ride that out. So have a think about that. I would just avoid the next best thing would be incline walking, but obviously with your back, I would just avoid that because it will pull the back out of you. Things like the cross trainer and the bike, yeah, are great. Bike, great, but obviously just try. The bike would probably be ideal for you. Secondary stairs, but in terms of the back and stuff. But I would just make sure, you know, if you're not tracking your heart rate, it's easy to to let intensity slip. Obviously, the more tired and fatigued that you get throughout those 20 minutes. But I would just aim to keep it above a certain level. It'll give you the level or the speed that you're going at, and I would aim to maintain that. Um, Going forward. So yeah, that would be the crack. And then this time next week, weigh in tomorrow. This time next week, weigh in again, and we'll see how things stand and see if we need to make any adjustments. We might not, because that you know, with these targets and adding in that little bit of cardio, you know, keeping your steps in and around 8 to 10K weekly average will be more than enough, you know, to see that scale weight come down, you know, and it just comes down to consistency, really. So do make sure that you are meticulous with your tracking. And again, just hitting the fundamentals here. There's no magic. There's no magic involved. It's literally just doing this repeatedly, and the results will come, absolutely. But I would just focus on solely on this week and not stress about weighing yourself. Just focus on hitting your variables as best you possibly can. Forget about the scales. Weigh in tomorrow, but forget about the scales for the next week and just focus on hitting your targets, and then jump on the scales before your next check-in next week. So yeah, let's do this. I'll pop in another little document across the bottom for you. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. But enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.